What is up, YouTube? Kalebread here, bringing you a brand new video. Today's video is a little bit different. I'm doing a collaborative effort with my friend Kit, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like dating as a trans person, which is not fun. I have a series of questions that we're going to answer, and let's just jump right into it. So, the first question is how long have you known that you were trans slash non-binary?
Well, growing up, I always presented as a tomboy. I hated dresses, hated feminine things, everything. When I got to college at like 16, I
Yep.
then sort of started to dress more masculine, started buying more men's clothes, getting into that. But it wasn't until sort of like 3 years later when I started university that I started going by KT and using they them pronouns and feeling a bit more comfortable with myself.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine like university in general is like people are a little bit more open about the idea of that kind of thing, so
Mm.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, I also was fairly tomboyish for most of my life, although uh, you wouldn't think it talking to my parents about it, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I actually identified as gender fluid for a while before I realized I was a trans guy. I guess it was like the stepping stone. That was probably like 2012 ish. And then I came out as trans masculine in like 2016. So it's been a while.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
Definition of non binary and trans, description of our particular identities. Uh, so I'll let you take the non binary side of things because
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
something that I want to. But trans in general is just identifying as not the gender that you were assigned at birth. Pretty simple. I was assigned female at birth and I'm a dude now, so.
With non-binary, I've always seen it as not rejecting your gender, but not feeling within the binary, so not feeling male or female. So although I was assigned female at birth, I don't perceive myself as female. I perceive myself as me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too, which is why a lot of the time, if I'm talking about my identity to people who are also queer, I'm like, well, I'm
Mm.
technically non binary, just like on the masculine side of things.
Mm.
So if I'm describing my identity even to like cishet people, I'm like, I'm trans masculine. I'm kind of a guy,
Yeah.
but also kind of not. But gender and sexuality are
Yeah.
just complicated a lot of the time.
Definitely.
Um, Question number 3. Have you found that while trying to date, people have a tendency of treating your identity as real or not valid? I'll let you go
Yes.
first because I imagine you fall into that a lot.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I haven't used like a dating app in a while, but I do usually use dating apps, and I always have my pronouns in my bio on the app, and
Yeah.
I will always get people, specifically men, like cishet men, messaging me like, you're not like saying I'm trying to be quirky or something. Um, and then yeah, and then if I do start to talk to someone that seems to accept it, they still treat me as if I'm a feminine person. Like they see me as like a female light. Like,
Ugh,
yeah, I don't call myself female, but I look female, so I get a lot of that.
that's frustrating.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't
very frustrating.
I haven't had anybody like treat my identity as valid, but the same thing with like the cishet dudes. I don't I have had a lot of dudes like message me or like me on OKCupid or whatever. It's like, sir, you're barking up the wrong tree. Do you not see
Yeah.
the beard? And like maybe they're looking for friends because that's not an unusual thing on OkCupid, but it's when I was actively looking for like a relationship, it was weird. But in general, because I am very I am binary passing for the gender that I am trying to pass as, it's like people just mostly see me as a dude. But I also
Mm.
tend to not go after like uh heterosexual women or just straight up gay dudes if I am looking for a guy, because I don't want to potentially run into that. Like every person that I've dated or been interested in since I came out has been like pansexual or bisexual or just generally queer. So it's like I also haven't put myself in that position because I don't
No.
want to deal with that. Question number 4. Do you think online dating has made finding a partner as a trans or non binary person easier or harder? I'll let you go first.
I think in some ways it's made it easier because you sort of get a view of how someone's going to react to you before you meet them in person.
That's true, yeah.
And also, like, instantly you can be like, you don't even have to say, I don't even have to say I'm non binary because it's already in my bio.
Yeah,
Whereas if you're meeting someone in person, you have to go through sort of like coming out to that person almost.
that's true, yeah.
And so, yeah. So with online dating, I think it's made it easier in that retrospect. I found a lot more queer people in my area through online dating.
Yeah, that is also true, is that online dating means that you can filter out the people who don't match what you want way easier. Way easier. I've also met some really great people through online dating. Like one of my friends who I DM for, I met through online dating. So,
I met one of my best friends
um,
through Tinder, so
oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, what has been your worst experience that you're comfortable telling us about dating as a trans or non binary person? For me, I've been very, very lucky that most of my encounters have been positive, or at the very least, not so negative that, like, it becomes a horror story. However,
Mm.
one of the first people that I actually started talking to when we moved out here through OkCupid was this trans girl that I met, that I actually met in person. One day we actually met down in Pike Place Market, which is, I don't feel like I need to explain what that is. That's fairly famous, but um and over time after we started getting closer and closer, they like straight up went crazy on me. Like I tend to be a big believer of social justice and all of that. You know that, like being as close as we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I wouldn't run this channel if I didn't want to put like a message of acceptance and shit out there. But you
Mm.
know the Tumblrina stereotype of like you have to trigger warning literally everything because even a blade of grass can trigger somebody who
Yeah.
what got like razor burn or whatever from a blade of grass. That's what she became. Like
Oh no.
we bonded initially, like I do with most people that I meet, on a common love of true crime and murder. And I
Yeah.
made a joke that I was in a similar vein of other jokes I had made before, but she completely lost it on me. I don't even remember what the joke was anymore. I just remember her fucking yelling at me, and it was like, okay, I don't know what snapped in you. I'm gonna let you take some time. I'm going to back away, and we're just going to not talk anymore. She just never reached out to me again, so. I mean, ultimately, not that big of a loss, I think. But
No.
otherwise, my experience has been fine. How about you?
Uh It's not been too bad, because if it starts to go bad, I don't really let it go past like the talking stage.
Yeah.
It's mainly people, and not to generalize, but it's mostly cis-het men sliding into my DMs, either using feminine pronouns with me when I've asked them not to.
Yeah.
Or just sort of, I've had people completely like disregard whatever I've said because they don't believe in it, or they've straight up told me it's not real. But I think the worst ones are the people who see it as a fetish, because that's a thing.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah.
People are gross.
It's like, I just want to know what it's like. I was like, well,
yeah,
you're not going to find out. Bye.
That is definitely something that I think that every trans person has experienced, regardless of identity, is somebody, even if it's like super rarely, but somebody sliding into their DMs on one platform or another and just treating them like an out and out fetish. It's fucking gross.
I know. I had one guy who didn't like that I didn't respond to him like that. So he went and found my Instagram and started DMing me on there.
Oh, good lord.
I was like, nah. It was a while ago now, but yeah, I was like, no, we're not going there.
Yeah. Blocked. Reported for harassment.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Instantly.
What has been your best experience that you're comfortable telling us dating as a trans or non-binary person? Well, I'm in a relationship with a girl that I met through OkCupid. We've been together for a little over 6 months, actually almost 7 months. Literally tomorrow, 7 months, as of recording this, which I just dated this video. Oops.
Yep.
But, yeah, we've been together for almost 7 months, and it's been really good, and I like her a lot, and it's been awesome. How about you?
Yeah. Mine is actually a current one, I suppose. I met a guy on Tinder in, February, March, 7 months ago, like you.
Yeah. We both started a thing during a fucking pandemic.
Like, because we're really smart, that's why.
Yeah.
But he really sort of like, I was obviously very straight with him, excuse the pun, about my identity and like how I felt about it. And he's been very accepting and he sends me non-binary memes, which I appreciate a lot. So we are still just talking because, other things happen. But yeah, I like him. He's nice. He's very, yeah.
Yeah, from what I've interacted with him, he seems like a pretty good dude. And if he ever hurts you, then I'll just come to England and fucking murder him. Anyway, moving on.
And I'm okay with that.
What advice would you give to someone who's never dated a trans or non-binary person? Respect their boundaries is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Which I mean goes for any relationship.
Treat them like a normal person.
Yeah, treat them like a normal person would be a good one too. Communicate with them. Have a little bit of patience. Give them extra love when they're having dysphoric days. But yeah, ultimately treat them like a regular person because they are. Like, I never want... One of the most annoying things that I see on, like, Tumblr and how some cis women especially treat trans guys specifically is, like, the...
Ooh, soft boy.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not a soft boy. I am a soft boy, but I'm a soft man.
Exactly.
Manly
as fuck.
I am very, very manly, but also very, very soft. Exactly. I am not your small bean. I am not a small boy, BOI. I am a man. I am 30 fucking years old, Carol. What advice would you give to trans people who are nervous or apprehensive about dating? Be very.
You'll find someone.
Huh? What'd you say?
You'll find someone.
Yeah. It takes time and patience, and you're not going to be forever alone. That's something I thought for a very long time. But as long as you have friends who are there to, like, help support you when you're extra lonely or whatever, you'll be okay. And don't get so desperate you sacrifice your beliefs, your boundaries for somebody who doesn't respect you. That's also something I've done. But, yeah, just be patient. It takes time.
I was gonna say, not all cis people are horrible.
That's also true. There are people who will respect your identity and treat you the way you want to be treated and treat you like a normal person. It just takes time. And even if you don't want to date cis people, I mean, there's trans people out there too. Again, it just takes time. There are plenty of trans people who are trans for trans because who understands the experience better than another trans person?
Exactly.
But that is all of the questions that I have. So, if there isn't anything else that you want to say, I guess we'll just end this.
We can just end it.
Bye!
Bye.